Hey everyone, welcome to 59 Tops Friday presented by Wax Pack Wisdom, where we talk baseball history through the cards we love. My name is Jake T. O'Donnell. We built the iconic 1959 Topps baseball set, and in this series we're going through every card to talk about the players, teams, and people who made up Major League Baseball in 1959. Today, we'll cover cards 447 through 453 in the set. Card number 447 belongs to Bob Anderson of the Chicago Cubs. 1959 was Anderson's third year in the big leagues. Anderson was a right-handed pitcher who played in the majors for the Cubs for 6 seasons and the Tigers for his final season. Anderson was involved in an unusual play in 1959. On June 30th, during a game against the Cardinals at Wrigley Field, Anderson was pitching and Stan Musial was at bat with a 3-1 count. The next pitch got past the catcher Sammy Taylor, rolling to the backstop. The umpire called ball 4. Anderson and Taylor argued to the umpire that it was a tipped ball. Musial, seeing the argument and the ball still at the backstop area, went to second base. The third baseman, Alvin Dark, seeing Musial run for second, ran to the backstop to retrieve the ball. A field announcer temporarily touched the ball. Then Dark was able to get it back. The umpire then pulled out a new game ball and gave it to catcher Sammy Taylor, who threw it back to Anderson, who then threw the ball past second base into center field. Dark threw the original ball from the plate to shortstop Ernie Banks. Musial, not seeing the throw to the shortstop, tried for third base and was tagged out by Banks. The play made no difference in the outcome of the game, which the Cubs won 4-1. Anderson's final season in Detroit brought his only winning season, winning 3 out of 4 decisions. After playing 1 season in Detroit, he was traded to the A's but never made their roster. Anderson ended his big league career with a 36-46 win-loss record, with a 4.26 ERA and 502 strikeouts. He worked as a steel salesman after his baseball career. He died in 2015 at the age of 79. Card number 448 belongs to Vada Pinson of the Cincinnati Redlegs. 1959 was Pinson's second year in the big leagues. Pinson was a center fielder who spread his time in the big leagues between the Reds, Cardinals, Indians, Angels, and Royals. He was known for combining power, speed, and strong defensive ability. Pinson attended Oakland's McClymonds High School, which was also attended by Frank Robinson, Curt Flood, and basketball legend Bill Russell. After signing with the Reds just before his 18th birthday, Pinson played in the minors for 2 years and made his major league debut in 1958. Pinson was a 4-time All-Star between 1959 and 1960. Additionally, he was awarded a Gold Glove in 1961. In 1959, he led the National League in putouts as an outfielder. In 1961, the Reds won the NL pennant but lost to the Yankees in the World Series, where Pinson had 2 hits in 22 at-bats. Pinson called a 1962 incident where he took a swing at a club reporter who suggested Pinson would have a better batting average if he bunted more the most embarrassing moment of his professional career. In 1963, Pinson played all 162 games and finished 10th in the MVP voting. In his 18-year playing career, Pinson played in 1,469 games with a .286 batting average, 2,757 hits, 1,365 runs, 485 doubles, 127 triples, 256 home runs, 1,169 RBI, and 305 stolen bases. He had 200-plus hit seasons in 1959, 1961, 1963, and 1965, batting over 300 in each of those seasons. Following his playing career, Pinson coached for the Mariners, White Sox, Tigers, and Marlins. His coaching time included the inaugural seasons of expansion teams for both the Mariners and the Marlins. In 1977, Pinson was inducted into the Cincinnati Reds Hall of Fame. He died in 1995 at the age of 57 after retiring from baseball the year before. Pinson became eligible for the Hall of Fame in 1981. In his 15 years on the ballot, his highest ballot total was 15.7%. He has been on 4 Veterans Committee ballots and was not elected on any of them. Card number 449 belongs to Tom Gorman of the Kansas City Athletics. 1959 was Gorman's 8th and final year in the big leagues. Gorman was a right-handed pitcher who spread his time in the majors between the Yankees and Athletics. After graduating high school, Gorman joined the Navy, where he served in the Pacific during World War II. He signed with the Yankees in 1946 after his discharge from the Navy, and Gorman began playing in the minor leagues. He set a Texas League record of 42 scoreless innings in 1951. Gorman was a member of the 1952 and 1953 World Series champion Yankees. His Yankee teammates included Hall of Famers Yogi Berra and Whitey Ford. Ford was his roommate and one of his closest friends. His contract was sold to the Athletics in 1955, where he had a career high of 18 saves in 1955. Gorman ended his baseball career with a 36-36 win-loss record, a 3.77 ERA, 321 strikeouts, and 42 saves. Following his baseball career, he moved back to the Valley Stream, New York area where he raised his family. In 1990, the village of Valley Stream and the Central High School District honored Gorman with a recognition ceremony. He died in 1992 at the age of 67. Card number 450 belongs to Eddie Mathews of the Milwaukee Braves. 1959 was his 8th Major League season. Mathews was a smooth fielder with a sweet lefty swing who became one of the greatest third basemen in baseball history. And at the end of a 17-year career, he was 6th on the all-time home run list and had played more games at third base than anyone in MLB. Mathews grew up in Southern California and was one of the most sought-after amateur prospects in the country when he signed with the Braves out of high school in 1949. At just 20 years old, he made his debut for the Braves their final year in Boston in 1952. He swatted 25 homers and finished 3rd in National League Rookie of the Year voting. The following year, the Braves first in Milwaukee, he led the NL in homers with 47, made the first of 12 NL All-Star teams, and finished 2nd in league MVP voting. The next year, a rookie power-hitting outfielder named Henry Aaron made his debut, forming a potent lefty-righty batting duo with Mathews that would torment NL pitchers for years to come. In 1957, Mathews hit 32 homers in the regular season for the pennant-winning Braves and added another in their World Series win over the Yankees. In 1959, Mathews led the NL in homers again with 46 and was 2nd in NL MVP voting. He was a consistently great and patient power hitter into the 1960s, leading the NL in walks 4 times in his career. Mathews once again moved with the Braves in 1966, this time to Atlanta, and he became the only player to appear for the Braves in Boston, Milwaukee, and Atlanta. 1966 would prove to be his final season with the Braves, and he was traded to the Astros in the offseason. Midway through the 1967 season, Mathews was again traded, this time to Detroit, where he was mostly a bench player for an outstanding Tigers team that won the AL pennant and the World Series in 1968. His final MLB appearances came in that World Series, where he went 1 for 3 in 2 games. Mathews finished his career with 512 home runs. In retirement, he tried his hand in business first before returning to the Braves initially as a coach and later as manager in 1972. He remained there until he was dismissed midway through 1974. Mathews later coached and scouted for the Rangers, Brewers, and A's. It took 5 tries on the ballot, but Mathews was finally elected to the Baseball Hall of Fame in 1978. He died in 2001 at the age of 69. Card number 451 belongs to Jim Constable of the Washington Senators. Constable played in 5 MLB seasons, but 1959 was not one of them. Constable pitched mostly out of the bullpen for the Giants in both New York and San Francisco, as well as the Indians, Senators, and Braves. Earning the nickname Sheriff, Constable signed with the Giants ahead of 1951 and was a 19-game winner for their Nashville Farm Club in 1953. He spent most of the 1955 and 1956 seasons with Minneapolis, but got his first taste of the majors with 3 outings with the Giants in 1956. Most of his MLB action came in the next 2 years, first with 16 games in New York in 1957 and then 30 games spread across the Giants, Indians, and Senators in 1958. Constable did not pitch for 3 years and then returned in 1962, appearing briefly for the Braves that season and then back with the Giants in 1963. All told, he threw 98 MLB innings with a 4.87 ERA. After baseball, he worked for Magnavox and was then a schoolteacher. He died in 2002 at the age of 69. Card number 452 belongs to Chico Fernandez of the Philadelphia Phillies. 1959 was his 4th MLB season. The Havana, Cuba-born Fernandez was a trailblazer in his era, becoming the first player of color in the history of the Phillies and the first regular Latino position player ever for the Tigers. Fernandez played shortstop with flair and excitement, which made him a fan favorite in his various MLB stops. The Dodgers signed Fernandez out of pre-Castro Cuba in 1951. He spent several years in the minors, and in 1955 he had a chance to make the Dodgers out of spring training but got sick and was optioned back to Montreal. He finally debuted for the Dodgers in 1956, appearing in 34 games. Early in the 1957 season, Fernandez was dealt to the Phillies and made their starting shortstop. He batted a respectable .262 while playing solid defense at shortstop that first year. His numbers declined the next 2 years and he was traded to Detroit for 1960. His best individual season came in 1962 when he suddenly found his power, hitting 20 homers and batting .249. Fernandez spent his last MLB season in 1963 between the Tigers and Mets and spent the next few years in the minors. Fernandez batted .240 in 856 MLB games. He became a life insurance salesman in the Detroit area and was active in the local Latino community. He died in 2016 at the age of 84. Card number 453 belongs to Les Moss of the Chicago White Sox. Moss did not play in Major League Baseball in 1959, as 1958 was the final season of his 13-year MLB career as a catcher. Born in Tulsa, Oklahoma, Moss initially signed with the Browns ahead of the 1942 season. He played in the minors, then missed the 1944 and 1945 seasons, serving in the Merchant Marines during World War II. Upon his return, he debuted for the Browns in 1946. He hit 14 homers in 1948 and 10 the following year, but never hit consistently enough to be the Browns' everyday catcher. Moss was traded to the Red Sox in 1951, but was reacquired by the Browns for 1952, and he stayed there through their move to Baltimore in 1954. In 1955, he was traded to the White Sox, where he became the backup for his former teammate Sherm Lawler. Moss played his final games in 1958, and in total Moss hit .247 in 824 MLB games. Moss spent years as a scout, minor league manager, and major league coach. He briefly served 2 different stints as White Sox manager in 1968 and was hired as the Tigers manager in 1979, but lasted only 53 games before he was dismissed and replaced by Hall of Fame manager Sparky Anderson. Moss retired from baseball in 1995. His brother Perry was a college football star and then spent decades as a coach, including as head coach at Florida State, Kentucky, LSU, and the CFL's Montreal Alouettes. Les Moss died in 2012 at the age of 87. That's going to do it for this edition of 59 Tops Friday on Waxpack Wisdom. Today's episode was written by Abby O'Donnell and Jake T. O'Donnell. Do you have a story about one of the people, players, or teams we discussed today? Let us know in the comments. We'd love to hear it. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like and subscribe to our channel so you don't miss any of our Waxpack Wisdom content. In the video description, you will find our source material for this episode, links to where you can follow us on all social media channels, as well as a list of our favorite nonprofits and charities. Please consider a donation to one of them if you enjoyed this content. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time on Waxpack Wisdom. Take care.